Hello, welcome to Skye Sweaty Record Review, the only new record review show hosted by a French professor who just got off of an elliptical at the YMCA. It's been a good week. It's now Thursday, so that's the day before all the new albums come out, and as you hopefully know by now, I don't review anything more than a week old. So I had to really scramble to find the right thing to end the week on. And at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about all of the albums that almost made it for my new segment, Thursday Panic. We'll see if that sticks. So what I ended up listening to was an album called To the Islands by Magic Lantern. Now that is not a promising title, To the Islands. It sounds kind of bland. The name, Magic Lantern, is kind of bland. The cover is kind of bland. It's just like this white background with like a little horse silhouette. I don't know. It wasn't very promising, but I just hit play just to see. You know, like I said, it's like I'm back in the 90s and I'm at one of those towers with the different CDs and I'm just listening and scanning through. And what I discovered was an amazingly beautiful album. I think actually the first track is the best track on the album. That gets the Skye stamp. Giving out lots of stamps this week. It's not always that way, but there's a lot of great music that came out this week. It's called Holding Hands, and I'll explain to you how this one song illustrates the entire album. First of all, it's entirely voice-led. This guy's voice is absolutely gorgeous. It has lots of range. It has nice tone. He never tries to do too much. You know, he doesn't try to show off. But it's got a really nice haunting quality. He sometimes will sing with a slight British accent. Apparently, he's British from Bristol. I don't know. And it's not quite like crooner style, but almost. Like he's very charismatic just with his voice, and that's what leads this song, Holding Hands. Along with it comes with this horn part, and there's horns in and out of this album. And the horn sort of begins by completing his phrase, and then it starts to accompany note for note what he's singing. And this is an example of this very subtle production. It's very subtly produced, but extremely well produced. It's this mournful, hopeful song. I would say it's an album of hope and mourning. Boy, wow, that sounds pretentious. I'm just going to go for it. This is a song about finding true love and the hope of finding it. And then just when you sort of get to say like, all right, I've had enough of this guy's beautiful voice and his beautiful horns. I want something to happen. Bam! Some drums come in, a nice, clean, slow drum beat. And then these horns come in, and they actually, well, the horns were always there, but the horns actually drop, and they become kind of low horns, until eventually there's this slowly rising section. I don't know if it's a chromatic scale. I'm trying to use fancy music language. You know, that's where a scale goes up, like each note on the piano, as opposed to like each note in the scale. But that's how it feels. And it ends with the words, "We'll make it somehow." And I'm a pretty emotional guy, and this really hit me. I mean, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what his life is. I don't know what he's going through. But through the quality of his voice, I actually felt and connected to him personally and whoever he's singing about or singing to through his lyrics. And that follows through the entire album. An absolute virtuoso voice. I don't know if there's a genre, really. He's kind of a crooner. At times, it sounds a little bit like rock. It's kind of jazzy a lot of the time. For the most part, I just call it music. It's just music. It's just a guy singing. And if you like beautiful singing, I don't know. At times, I was like, am I an old woman? Because, like, I found myself, like, really loving this guy's voice and the simplicity and the beauty of the way that he was singing. And I was comparing it with the way that I was feeling when I was listening to rap music. And I don't know, I felt like, well, this is a nice young man singing about love. But I don't think so. That's just my self-criticism. Each song has an arc for the most part. Amazing phrasing, you know, he doesn't just sing straight out. He's a real true vocalist. Another standout track is a song called Tangled Chimes. You know what? I'm going to do it. This album gets 2 stamps. Tangled Chimes. it's amazing because it's a song about long distance love and about the hope of making it work. And it's hopeful and beautiful. But then, sort of halfway through, it takes a turn and he starts to say, but everything that glitters turns to rust. And you're just like, oh. And then we just end all alone. But it's not like maudlin like that. It's essentially saying, that love dies and that's sad. And that's what the song's about. It's this beautifully bittersweet song. Again, that one's called Tangled Chimes. My one complaint, and I don't think this is surprising based on how I've described it, is that at times it is a little too precious, especially, lyrically. At one point, I think he makes reference to a wine dark sea. I'm just like, all right, Homer, we got it. But then it's hard to tell where the line is because his best lyrics, I think some people would consider to be too precious. Like on the song Scattered Leaves, he has this lyric, an oak tree on its side and an acorn where it blooms. That's just a beautiful lyric. But if I were not being generous, I would say, that's kind of cheesy. Scattered Leaves is also the missed stamp of the album because it's the best lyrics and I think the most interesting melody, but then like halfway through he starts singing in Spanish and there's like these kind of like weird African rhythms and he just went a little bit too far. Oh, by the way, the band's called Magic Lantern, but it's by a person. Jamie Doe is his name. Apparently he does everything. I guess his name is even more boring than the band name that he chose. But this is really excellent. I'm tempted to buy it. I'm tempted to tell everybody about it, especially if really beautiful voices can positively affect you, can make you feel certain ways. I'm thinking like Sam Cooke or Harry Nilsson or Freddie Mercury. I wouldn't put him on that level, but maybe sort of like in the Morrissey area of just a beautiful voice that has the ability to reach you, and then the instrumentation and the songwriting and the lyric writing underneath is all there too. This is great. This is a great album. Okay, I would say that the 3-word review would be just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Yeah, I just say, oh, okay. Gorgeous. Yeah, I'll stick with that. That's pretty catchy. I believe the trivia question will be A Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Meltdown, that just came out. Boy, do I enjoy these books. Soon after we got dismissed, we headed straight for the bus line, and we were so bundled up no one even noticed when we got on board. The end. Okay, well then, tomorrow a whole bunch of new albums come out, and until then, there's the camera. That's so stupid. I'm going to stick with... Oh, the other thing I thought of was should I call my recording studio the sweat box? But that's just gross. So no, I'm not going to do that either. Okay. So, from the sweat box, there's the camera. There's the camera. Oh, dang. I finished recording, and I was eating my cereal, and I was getting ready to go about my day, I had my coffee, and I realized I actually forgot to tell you about my Thursday panic. So, these were the bands that I wanted to review, but I just don't have enough time. Of course, I wanted to review Metro Boomin, because that's like the king of the new sort of, the new couple years now, but the king of that sort of syrupy rap trap style. I found this interesting band from Timbuktu called Levite Timbuktu, and I listened to the whole album. I actually recorded an entire episode, but I erased it because I ended up like having to read from like the description of the music style from the internet, and that was not compelling. But it's very interesting kind of trancey music from Mali, if you find that interesting. There's this band called Paint that's pretty cool, kind of psychedelic, and I listened to them, and I came this close to choosing them instead of the Magic Lantern. I thought about a band called Size, which I'd never heard of, but it turns out that was old music. They were some like post-punk band from Mexico, and it was awesome. It was like this interesting, like kind of spare-ish punk music, like not super fast, but interesting like sounds. And then like the second half of their career was like sort of weird, easy listening. I don't know. And then of course there's the Dylan bootleg stuff, but that's we're not going to do that because that's reissue. I will say that I am going to do something new. So pay attention to my feed because in talking about this beautiful singer with this beautiful music, that got me thinking about Queen, and it got me thinking about Bohemian Rhapsody, and it made me realize that I've been just growing with frustration at the reviews of this movie. So look for it tomorrow. I'm going to record it now, and it's going to be called, I don't know, What Do You People Want? A review of Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, I'm going to get back to my Super Mix cereal. And, yes,